Hello there, welcome back again to another fantastic episode of Issues of the Mind. I remain your host, Pappy Sam, for a reason, the psychotherapist. I'm not by myself, with me is Dr. Shina Aladejubelo, aka Emperor. So the topic today is a very peculiar topic. That's how old are you? Are you in your late 30s, approaching 40, like 39, entering 40? That thing that they say that life begins at 40, and we have come to bring you hope. Even at 40, you can achieve things. You can make things happen. But I'll let Doctor, kick off the conversation. Bro, what do you think? Does life really begin at 40?
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure and a delight being on this program with you.
Pleasure is mine.
So, life begins at 40. I think it is when you wake up, when you realize purpose. I think that's when life begins. So, who was it that I was reading about recently? Who said it became that people used to say life begins at 40, but his own father told him that that is nonsense, that life begins at 14, not 40. So he became very serious at 14 and all of that. Anyway, that's a very special case. But the thing is that this thing said about life begins at 40, it has become not just something that you say smiling. It's now causing pressure for a lot of people. Because, well, as Nigerians, or the same thing might apply in other clients, but in here, we just realize that, you are 40, you have yet to achieve many or most of the things that you dream to achieve, when you started out. You thought, by 40, you would have become probably a senior manager, wherever it is you are working and all that. But you have hardly had 2 promotions or 3 promotions since you started. You are very distant away from being a senior manager. A number of reasons could be responsible. It could be that you did not even start the university early. It could be that it took you some years to get a job, your first real job. You might have started a job and say, let's just get going, and then you transition into the jobs of your dream, and it's like you are beginning, all over again. So you suddenly hit 40, and it's like you have unrealized, dreams and aspiration, and people start questioning their purpose, their existence. At times, some people begin to look for someone to blame. That my parent did a bad job. This is not where I ought to be at 40. The government is very bad. The economy is bad. Someone has to take it. So life begins at 40. True. If you're 40, it's a checkpoint. It's like getting to the middle of your age. When you are, let's say that thing that 70 is like that beautiful age. After 70, never grace. So when you are 35, it's like just got to half. When you are 40, you just lived really in the middle age, and now in the middle age. So the question that comes up is that, okay, I'm now going towards 70. Okay. I'm closer to 70 than where I began from.
Yes.
So what have I done with the past 40 years of life?
That's a big question. But they also say that a fool at 40 is a fool forever. What do you think about that phrase in itself? Before I'll say my own opinion about that phrase.
I think I like it. At 40 you should have tried a lot of things. At 40 you should have been married at least maybe once and for all, or once and whatever the case may be. At 40 you might have had a child or something. At 40 you should have worked for some years. At 40 you have done a lot of things. So at that age is a good point to sit back and start and reevaluate all the things you have done. And say, this thing that I did, going forward, I should be better. This is what I can do to make the best of the next 30 years.
Yes. So I hear that as you were speaking, I hear that at 40 you should have made attempts at major milestones of life.
Correct.
Even if in make those attempts you failed or you passed, regardless.
Yeah.
But you should have made the attempt. So when you get to 40, you can now remake a better attempt and have a better result. So for me, as much as I want to say a fool at 40 is a fool forever, I also have there's this saying at the back of my mind again that while there is life, there is hope. That means that you can't afford to give up. Even if someone is a fool till 40, at 40, there should be a change. There should be a reality that, oh, you are now in the midlife and you should do something that would work for you at that time, and something that you can look back to when you are now in the later life. Permit me to use that phrase. Say, okay, when you're in your 70s, something you can look back to and say, okay, I did something worthwhile with my life. At 40, you'll be pursuing purpose or have achieved it maybe to a certain degree and all. But the message behind this conversation is, yes, life can begin at 40. You can start over. You can start achieving those things. You can start setting those goals right. You can start asking questions to learn. Please don't stop learning. I know people that in their 40s they went to school, in their 60s they went to school. Recently I saw a woman that went back to school in her 40s, and then maybe she's 46, 47, she just graduated and she was so happy, excited in the UK. Like, at least, yes, I'm not a graduate, I've done it. And she said, what I should have done early in my life, and now I've still done it. So this is the time where you don't give up and you can still achieve those dreams, those visions, those goals. I would like Emperor to take it on from here to share with us how you can restart properly.
Thank you very much, sir. I will actually say that the question is, at 40, are you actually a fool or a wise person? I think that's what that wise saying was really pointing to that. You could have been blaming people for the past 39 years. That would be extreme by my own estimation. Some people live in that perpetual, this blaming game of a thing. They can blame everybody except themselves. So by the time you are 40, you should have realized that this blaming thing does not help anybody, and you should take charge of your own life. You should realize that I have done it for a long time, it's not working. Like you said, you use the word restart. Let me restart my life. Now, I want to look at it from the societal point of view, what has been going on in our society. And I'll also take it a little bit to the side of aspect of career. All right, so let's look at the societal part first. One of the things that happen in our society is that this whole thing, some people start to think about what they've done in their life from 40, and it goes on till later years. Do you know what happened? They never recover. From that, they become overwhelmed, by all the issues of life. It becomes issues of the mind and the heart and everything.
Issues of the mind.
And they don't recover. So at the point where they are, trying to figure out what's going to happen, do you know what happens to some of them?
Okay.
They begin to speak to people. The question now is, be careful. Watch who can you speak to. Anybody who is not where you aspire to be. When you are 40, don't talk to them. Don't talk to them about life.
Yes, sir.
Someone who is not where you aspire to be, because there are probably 2 or 3 categories of people you can speak to. You can speak to someone and the person is probably 43 while you are 40, and the guy has not made an edgeway in life. And the guy will just say, don't kill yourself, let's rock our life, guy. Everybody's what to do will be. Everybody's best has been written in their pants, let's just live our lives. That's the carefree attitude. The truth of the matter is that it can get you going for some time, and relieve the burden, the stress, the pressure. But the truth of the matter is that for how long are you going to do that? Some realities we set in at every point, at one checkpoint or the other. You just realize that you go to your family, nobody recognizes you at your place of, everywhere. And you will come back to that situation. So that's one category of people. There's another category that you can speak to, and these ones, they will milk your situation. They will take advantage of that situation. Whatever needs that you have that has put you under pressure at 40, they will take advantage of it. So you go to someone, maybe the person is called a pastor or prophet or whatsoever. You talk and say, my father, my mother, my wife, my this. The guy is listening to you, and he comes back to say, okay, I have checked everything, and he looks for the most vulnerable person from what you have said, and he keeps the blame on the person. The person simply says, your mother is the source of your problem. Say, what? My mother? I say, yes, your mother. If they realize that, the bond between this guy and his mom is so strong, or his mother is no longer alive, then he says it's his wife.
Yeah.
So from this age downward, you begin to, you wonder, why are people going their separate ways? They've been together for 10 years, Now they should be more mature and they should handle things differently, but they are going their separate ways. They've been together for 15 years. They are going their separate ways. What could be responsible for this? These are some of the causes of that. Because the guy now blames his wife for everything. Yeah. I have asked people a lot. You will see a guy who did not make anything from age 1 to age 30. He gets married at 32. Now he's 42. He has been married for 10 years. And they say his wife is using his glory. Okay, what did you do with your glory for 32 years?
Naturally, people want to blame someone else for the predicament, for their issues. But I think it's high time we begin to take responsibility for our problems and solve it.
Let me mention the third category of persons that you can call. These are the people who are already where you want to be. They have gone ahead of you. They are your Moses. They've gone through the wilderness experience. Yes. Now you want to go through the wilderness. They know how to lead you like a shepherd, and they can guide you and say, these are the mistakes. These are the things that you can take advantage of right here. So there's another part of it which is career. I think that was almost where I started.
Yeah, where from? Yes.
Some of your mates are directors or senior directors. You are 40, you are 42. You are a supervisor. And at times on alumni platforms, you want to hide your face. Not because you're a shy person, but just because you think you don't measure. Your mates have gone far ahead of you. And do you know that there are pressures that people mount? See, there was something that a guy said to me when I was in the university. He said, Prof, that's what friends used to call me. He said, Prof, if you don't end up doing PhD, you are formal. Wow. I did not forget that thing in my life. Actually, as at the time I did PhD, I did not need it for anything. I'm happy I did, And I think I was satisfied with the type and the quality of education I've got and all of that. But I keep remembering that, guys. I know it's somewhere not thinking about me, but that word entered into my soul and has haunted me for God knows how long until I overcame that. So there are times when you begin to feel less confident because you think you are not where you should be. So rather than just bowing down your head in shame, avoiding people, dodging people, don't talk to those who will complicate things for you. Some people will tell you that to get promotion you have to be bathing in soap. You want to bathe soap to get promoted. If you are an engineer, so you become a better engineer by bathing in soap. Is that what? If you were to be working in the oil and gas, you want to enter into the deep sea by bathing some special soap or pouring some holy water to it. That's definitely not what you do.
Absolutely.
You can have mentors remotely. Yeah. You can watch them, you can listen to their speeches, you can read people's biographies. Exactly. You can do, there are lots of things that you can do and restart from where
so I hear that restarting requires a community and a community of people that are going in the direction that you're heading. So it means that you need to change your communication. The people you previously speak with or that have been speaking over your life, you need to now change them and say, because the truth is, if you're planning to go to the UK, you can't be talking to people at Ikeja bus stop heading to Ojoji. It doesn't look like it. you need to begin to talk to everybody that needs to work together, maybe the visa guys, the passport guys, or that whatever you're saying with them is leading you in the direction of getting all the requirements to get into the UK. It is still mode of transport, but they don't look like, they are not the same thing. You can't say that because I want to get to the UK, that's my destination. You now go and stand at the Yaba train station. But if you know you are going to the UK, start thinking like people heading to the UK. Speak to people that can take you to the UK. The UK that I mean is hypothetical, so that at least you can get to where you want to get to at the end of the day. And because you're 40 doesn't mean that that's the end of the road, but that's the beginning. That's the starting point. There's always the story that I always refer to when I find people in the mix. Joyce Meyer, at 65, she sought to start over her life, going to the gym, started the ministry. That's where she is today. The Kentucky Fried Chicken man, at 65, what can I do in my life? I look at them today, they've built a world-class brand. It's not too late. I can even refer to my classmate in school when I was in the unit back then. She was 45 back then. But today she has masters, she has done her PhD. So regardless, you need to change the people you talk to and start saying life the way you should say it and start pursuing it. Well, we are not saying that it will be easy. It will be easy, but it will be worth it eventually. So this is us bringing you hope that life really begins at 40. That's when you now take cognizance and take deliberate step of your life and about your life. That okay, I need to do something major about this. But that does not still mean that you should not wait till 40. If you are in your 20s or you are in your teens, hearing this, take your life seriously. Do the things you need to do. There's nothing stopping you that in your 20s you have your PhDs already, and then at least I know quite a number of young people that in their 20s they have their PhDs already and they are moving on with their lives. Please, if you want to start, please, it's good to start early. And if for some reason or the other you're not able to start early, now don't push blames anymore. My people in Mori will say, if you get problem, now your problem, now you go solve it. Because nobody will solve it for you. And the time you start taking responsibility for your life and do the things you need to do, that you're 40 doesn't mean that all hope is gone. You're just starting life. You're just balling. So you can first start with your health. Go to the gym, eat right, at least you live long, and then go back to school. Achieve those wonderful things you want to achieve. Like Emperor has said, start thinking straight. Especially the last point that he made. The people that you're talking to, the people that have gone ahead of you. They said mentors are men taking you on a tour of a landscape, a terrain that they know already. So they are taking you through it. You look for the right mentor to take you through the path, and you know where you're heading to, so you can as well achieve your goal. At the end of the day, it's only that will be on the certificate. You are the ones that will be celebrated, probably not your mentor, but they would have helped you to achieve that goal. And you see, living life at the best requires a community. You can't do it by yourself. And that's why on Issues of the Mind podcast here, but also we are part of that community that is lending a voice to you now. Please rise up, achieve the goal. In fact, smash the goals. Do all that you want to do. Dream and live and start living in your dream. It's never too late. So we'll come your way again in our plenty episode. Please share, subscribe, like, just press that button there and tell someone about Issues of the Mind. It's on the Dr. Shina Aladejubelo TV. Please subscribe, like, share, contact us. We beg of thee. But doctor, before we leave, any final word, anything you want to say?
Thank you very much, Pappy Sam. I just want to say that it's not too early to start, and it's not too late to begin.
So start now. Begin now.
Start now.
Thank you very much. See you around.